You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks. FWP so good I listen weekly. Welcome to Final Wrestling Place.
I'm Tim.
Oh, I'm still Marcus.
And we're back after a hopefully excused absence from Final Wrestling Place. We are back. And boy, it's good to be back.
It's good having you back, man. Definitely missed you. If I could have figured it out, everybody was going to get stuck with a Marcus flying solo freestyling show. But yeah, it didn't come to pass. But I'm happy you're with us. I'm glad you're back. Hopefully you're feeling better. I will let you divulge as much as you want to as to where you've been, but you look good, man. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. So one day when I'm not cheap and I'm not borrowing somebody else's StreamYard, the Marcus solo projects will be a little easier for you to do. But until that point, I think we're safe on that front. But I am good. I'm feeling good. I've actually felt good this entire time, which is crazy. But we'll get into the nuts and the bolts of it. Before I start to divulge everything, I'm going to get out in front of it first. Thank you to everybody, soon to be named network adjacent. I haven't really said much to the populace of folk, other than what's been said on the Twitter machine or what's been said in the Discord. I have told a small group of people, but yeah, last week your boy was in a pretty gnarly car accident. Wasn't my fault. Everything's good. But the car verdict is still out on the car, surprisingly, but that jank looked totaled. It was definitely a shock to the system. No undisputed era needed. But yeah, man, just driving on a Sunday afternoon, right after kickoff of football. I'm just going to go run an errand, try to maybe look for some popsicles for my wife, who she's been on a popsicle kick lately. And she's where we usually go to grocery shop, the popsicles are bare. So I was going to go off the beaten path to a close enough grocery store that we just never hit. And so as I'm going, I head onto my road, and a 20-something-year-old or a barely 20-year-old driver driving her mom's van just cuts across traffic on a 2-lane road, and nowhere for me to go. I can't avoid anything, so surprisingly minimized damages, but if it wasn't for that gnarly curb, I think I would have been okay. But yeah, so surprisingly though, no real long-term side effects, no long-term pain, with the exception of my right wrist and my index finger. I have occasional pain, moving my wrist up and down and making a fist, grip strength with 4 fingers or 3 fingers and the ball of my thumb, perfectly fine. You include the pinky and you include the index finger, and I might as well be giving you my strong hand. It's not super great, but it's not.
You got a double A hand.
I do. I got a little double A finger, double A fingy. But we're good. Most of it, and this is me kind of using you all as my couch. Most of my problem or my struggles this whole week since the accident has just been struggles with my own mortality, which is weird. But it's like, the more I look at the pictures of the accident, the more I say to myself, how did I walk from this? How did I like survive without a scratch? Like, I am fine. Index finger and wrist aside, like this just feels like a sprain, like I was holding onto the steering wheel and that like it's a jolt. But range of motion's good, everything's fine. Like, it's not, I feel like I'd know if it was broken. Like, I feel like I have to do the Mighty Ducks, Cody Banks hold the hockey stick and do the crossover deal. But like, everything's good, but I've really just been questioning my mortality. Like, how am I, how did I not get more seriously hurt? I'll happily post pictures in the Discord if people want to see just how crazy this looks. But I've been holding it close just because I've been waiting for the insurance to do its thing, and I'm hoping to hear back soon. Just so I can get on with the whole stupid process of, am I going to need a new car? Are they going to fix it? If they could make a line for the likelihood of my car getting fixed, I would throw away $5 on the odds of them saying my car is fixable, just because I know I'd win $1 million if it hit. Like, I would happily bet $5 on this, knowing it's not going to hit, with the chance that maybe the car is fixable. But I've already got my license plates off the vehicle. Everything else is taken care of, but I am good. Thank you to specifically Joe, the boys over at We Need Wrestling, Adam, Matt Durline, DeWicki, everybody who's kind of known or found out about it, reaching out, hitting me up, and like, no offense to like anybody else, like, I haven't really said much about it yet, mainly because I'm just still kind of in shock of it all. But yeah, man, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm healthy. But that Sunday, I was like, I purposely, like, once everything was settled and I got home, like, I was fine at the accident. But then, like, the hours afterwards, I was just, like, adrenaline dumping. And just, like, I'm exhausted. I'm in bed by 7. Like, nothing to do. But luckily, no bad dreams, no recollection, not no recollection, because that would point to a concussion, Jones. But I remember everything. But I haven't been recalling it without actually thinking about it. But yeah, man, it's good. I'm glad I'm on the upside. And yeah, man, I'm sorry we missed out last week. We'll try to do something to make up for the off week coming up in the next few weeks, just to keep us on track. Because we have plans for episode 300, and they have to happen at exactly the right time. And if we miss a week, we got to make up a week. Yeah. So, yeah, but I'm excited. I'm glad. Credit. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm just ready to get my new car, and we go from there. So I'm gonna have the biggest big boy purchase on the soon to be named network history to a certain date. Well, no. We both bought houses.
We did, yeah.
On the podcast. Never mind.
Yeah. The
third biggest big boy purchase. No, fourth, because you bought a car. Crap. Man, stop. Everything's good, though. I'm happy, and we're here. And we're here to talk some wrestling. We had a lot to cover. We've got Bad Blood to talk about. We've got AEW TV deals to talk about. Whatever else we're gonna wish up, dream up, we'll get there. But first, Before we get to that, Marcus, I've bogarted a lot of the banter for this. So, Marcus, how are you, man? What's been up the last 2 weeks? We haven't even though like we haven't been podcasting, we haven't really talked that much either. And like I feel bad about it, but how have you been?
Good.
Thanks, bud. To quote Sheldon Cooper, I was just watching some episodes of Big Bang Theory, waiting for my wife to get home, playing tennis into a curtain. Just I'm hitting the ball and it's just getting stuck into the curtains. But everything's good.
No, everything's good, man. I got a sinus infection now. So I had a cold or whatever type of virus of the month. The little one brought home from preschool. But this is something different. This is like seasonal. So I feel fine. I don't sound good, and occasionally I don't feel good, but like it's all like in my head. So I'm fine. Yeah, I sound like doo-doo, but this leads me to something I'm not sure if I shared on the podcast, but I had a theory probably for way too late in life. I thought allergy problems were exclusive to white people.
No!
I didn't know that people of color could have allergy issues because we grew up in a very diverse area.
Yeah.
Majority black.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other black people that ever experienced allergy issues.
You just didn't meet the right. That this is gonna sound wrong.
I think it's because it doesn't exist.
For the purposes of your study, you did not find the right ones.
I think it's fascinating. But now here I am. Many years removed from my youth, and I'm now experiencing allergy issues once or twice a year. So I guess that myth has been busted, or I just blame the white portion of my racial heritage. Maybe that's the issue, but yeah, man, I didn't think that black people had allergy issues.
That's crazy, man. That is.
I thought we were immune.
Well, you know the science behind the human body, right? Where at 25, after you turn 25, the human body stops making cells at the rate in which cells die in our body. So after
I wonder what could fix that.
Nothing can do that.
You don't think a little... Oh man, it'd be great if there was like a substance out there that was already in our bodies, but could be produced at like a cleaner, more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just like a more, economical and more.
I don't think it's economical
kind of substance, and I think that if doctors could have this ability to distribute this product pretty freely and liberally, like if only there was like maybe like a hormone that we already have inside of our bodies, and
so
they
like
could
a
just
human,
give us more
like a
of that.
human hormone,
but like to replenish, to regrow.
So like a growth hormone in humans.
Yeah, like a human growth hormone.
They don't make those.
I think if they do, that they should be available pretty freely.
No, because if something like that happens, that feels like taking the limitless pill, right? Where like you like can see sound and you can taste colors. Like,
but if everybody has access to it, then it's normal, and it's
no.
It's
that
not
just
really
means we're all just freakish people.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay. Oh, here we go. But yeah, man. Sinuses stink. They're the worst. I hate them. 10 out of 10. I need to go get tested for, I need to do the whole allergy testing. That's a white person thing.
That's a gimmick, yeah.
But it's real.
It's real, but it's a gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, give me both your arms. We're gonna hit you with 50 different things that you could be allergic to, and we're gonna watch your
come back and
we're gonna watch your skin react. Yeah, we're gonna watch your skin react to 50 things. And I'm like, how about you just like, I don't know, just ask me how I feel when I run through pollen, or
it's a gimmick. I'm not saying it's not.
It's
like,
a procedure,
effective, but
it's a procedure.
It's a racket.
Now you're calling modern medicine a racket.
Well, I mean, if they can't distribute human growth hormone, then why are they out here test what people are allergic to?
They can. They just have to have.
Well, they're cowards.
They have to have good reason.
I want it. Isn't that good enough reason?
No. I want $1 bazillion. That's not enough for me to just go to the bank and say, hey, give me $1 bazillion. I believe that's called.
It's not that everybody wants it. It's everybody could have access to it. Not everybody's going to take it or use it.
Everybody can have access to human growth hormone. How do you think Broski got so big?
I don't know about anything about
you
that.
just don't have. You know what the problem is here? Is you have not hit enough opportunities to hit the tax bracket in which these substances are more available to you.
Right.
That's the problem.
Kind of like a vice to enable another vice. I'm not against it.
Well, I'm not saying like use opportunities to get to your end goal. I'm just trying to think of like what is the logical next step for you to get access to these things. So I just want you to heighten what you're doing. Because if you had any luck like I had luck this week, boy, dog, I'm officially a W-9 employee of DraftKings. Why
don't you tell everybody about your hit?
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Dog, I got some money today.
Timmy Stimmy over here. Let him know.
Yeah, I had a 20 unit day today.
Let's go.
I had a 20 unit day. And usually I ask the consortium, Marcus and Brett, hey, what are we betting on today? And instead, I went with my heart.
Timmy freestyled,
and Timmy freestyled 20 units.
What were the legs?
So DraftKings had FanDuel. FanDuel can go away. No more FanDuel. FanDuel's the bad place. DraftKings is the good place. Okay. They had a deal this weekend for football where any 4-leg parlay you could boost. You could profit boost. So my legs were the Commanders plus giving up 3 points. An anytime Brian minus 3. Yep. Brian Robinson touchdown anytime. It was Jaden Daniels over 216 passing yards.
Okay.
And it was Jaden over 40.5 running yards. And the entire deal was locked up by halftime.
That's a good bet.
To the Cleveland fans, it couldn't have happened to a better team. Sorry. Not sorry. Deshaun Watson is washed. Your entire team is cheeks. You were better when didn't they have Joe Flacco like a year ago?
They did.
And now Joe Flacco out here beating Kansas City or beating Jacksonville.
They lost to Jacksonville.
I thought they beat Jacksonville.
Jacksonville pulled it out by 3, I think, but it was a close game.
But it was a very close game for Joe Flacco, literally sitting on the couch eating bonbons to getting the call to come and sling that pig around.
A roll off the couch all-star.
Yo, man. He's a gamer, dude. But yeah, man.
I did hit a couple opportunities today.
You did. I was very proud of you. You had a lot of. You were dinking and dumping, as some would say in the sports world, where I went for a chunk play. I made one chunk play and I made it hit. Where you were just like, I'm a sprinkle here, I'm a sprinkle there, I'm a sprinkle over there, and some of this.
So yeah, I had Austin Eckler over 13.5 receiving yards. That hit for 2.5 units. I had a nice parlay hit, Derrick Henry touchdown, Baltimore money line, and Jamar Chase 4 receptions. That was plus 175. I connected that for a good healthy bunch there. Yeah, that was quite a bit, but that was good. Yeah, not quite. Is that 13 units? That hit. So that was nice. Live bet Jaden Daniels to throw a touchdown. That was a nice little half unit hit. I had the Ravens minus 2.5. That paid 2 units.
That was a nail biter.
I had Minnesota minus 2.5. That hit for 4 units. So successful day.
Yeah, man.
Really good day.
We will eat all day. We will happily eat all day on that. It feels good to be able to bet on my team and not against my team.
How's it? Yeah, it probably feels real good, right?
It's different. It feels different.
How's it feel having like a dude?
Pretty good, man. I'm finally. So I feel like Randy Quaid's character in Major League 2. Where like Jaden Daniels gets drafted and he's like, oh yeah, cool. And then like you watch the first game and then I am the guy who like takes all the Commanders gear and turn it inside out. And I'm like the anti-Commanders fan. And I'm like, all right, we won, but yeah, whatever. Jaden, the shoe's going to fall off and the slipper's going to fall off and the carriage is going to turn back into a pumpkin. Just wait. And then we get to today, and I'm leaning over the guardrail talking ish to Jaden Daniels, and he tells me to stick it up my you-know-what. And then they break the knob off, turning it to 11, playing Wild Thing, and out comes Ricky Vaughn, and I just got to go run and tell my friend, Wild Thing's back. Jaden Daniels, that's my guy. Scary Terry. I've never been a big Scary Terry guy until now. Like, Diami Brown had a good big catch. The defense is stepping up. Frankie Louvu doing stuff. Leading the team. We're the best in the East right now. Best in the East.
I don't argue. Don't argue.
Like statistically, this is not a knock on the Eagles. I will not say I love. I have respect for the Eagles. I have
not me.
I am I show respect.
Okay.
I respect the Eagles. I am indifferent on the Giants, and may the Cowboys rot in hell. That's the stance. Big win for the Giants. DJ can be proud. A blocked field goal to clinch it.
That was huge.
I thought that game was over. But
yeah, I thought it was heading to OT, but not to be.
Yeah, man. You know, crazy things happen in the National Football League, but this is not a football podcast. It's almost an opportunities podcast. But there's
working on it.
We're working on it. Just stay with us. But right now, that's the only way we're ever going to get Marcus to talk anything banter related is to just talk opportunities. So enjoy that. But we're doing some blind rankings. I know you guys have missed it. So we're back. And now Marcus stooged me off a little bit. He said that he has to go last. And I don't know why he has to go last. But that's okay, because I've been itching. I've been sitting on these for a whole 2 weeks as I just dropped my Sharpie on the floor because I'm an idiot. But that's okay, because for a rib, I bought 30 Sharpies for a gimmick. But Marcus, are you ready for your non-wrestling related blind ranking?
Throw it on me.
So we're ranking fall time activities.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to go number 1, an influx of candy. Just all the candy that I can see through Halloween and trunk or treats and harvest festivals.
Give me 2.
2 on candy. Okay. Next up, we have hay rides and corn mazes. Traditionally white people stuff.
Yeah, that's why it's getting a 5.
That's where it's getting a 5. I knew it was a 5. I needed to put a 5 in there for you. Next up, bonfires and s'mores.
Can I say how much I hate corn mazes?
Please go ahead.
This
is banter. Go ahead.
I'm a pretty competitive person, and
wait, hold on. Wait. No. If you're gonna say you're competitive, please give the depth and breadth of your competitiveness accurate measurements.
It might be a sickness.
Okay.
I'm pretty competitive.
Yes. Ultra competitive.
If I'm in a corn maze, I'll kind of look around and see like who's ahead of me. And I'm like, I have to beat them. And it's no longer about like me or the group I'm with getting out of the corn maze. It's about me beating other people, even though they have no clue what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And like once I pass them, I have to look ahead and like see who else. And then like I look behind me and I'm like, okay, like when did I see them last? When did they come in? Almost like a war games, like who entered next. And I have to make my way through before everybody else. And I mean, it's probably not fun for others to be with me during a corn maze.
Okay. Let me explain. This is just for my life with Marcus. Let me explain to you how ultra competitive he is, to the point of competing when nobody else knows they're competing. Marcus, during our time at #church, would create a game called Last Clap. Where Marcus would try to be the last person to clap naturally in a audience full of round of applause. Literally, there is no way anyone else can know that they are playing this game, but Marcus knows he's playing Last Clap. And so everybody's just clapping, and then all of a sudden, as it all dies down, you just hear him go, just one clap. Now, heaven forbid, like, he's sitting next to family or me, and then we're just trying to egg him on to make him clap longer. Because we'll just be like, everybody stops clapping, then all of a sudden it's just random smattering. See, like right now, we're not playing, and I've been clapping, and Marcus just had to clap one time after I finished clapping.
That's the best part, is you get to like say to yourself, last clap.
Yeah, you just like, so that to understand the sickness that Marcus lives with, last clap. That shows you how competitive this man is. Okay. All right. So we've got Number 3 on the blind rankings right now is bonfires and s'mores.
So I'm not really good with outdoorsy things like starting a fire, maintaining a fire. I could probably put a fire out. I like the heat that comes off the fire. That's cool. I don't like smelling like a bonfire for 2 days afterwards.
Yeah, you gotta wear like clothes that you don't want to wear.
So I'm gonna put it at number 3.
Okay. All right. So you have 1 and 4 left.
There's also pretty petty competitiveness when it comes to like making the perfect marshmallow.
See,
like
there's
if I
no
see anybody make it's on.
See, ultra competitive. Okay. So Marcus, I'm just letting you know right now, you're going to end up putting one of these things lower than you wanted to.
All right.
So next up on the list is football opportunities.
Number 1.
Okay. Well, this is the problem, because no matter which one I would have given you, you would have put it at number 1, because number 5 is postseason baseball. And postseason baseball now goes into the 4 hole for you.
At least it's not 5.
Yeah.
I did underrate it.
Because there's also a possibility, hey man, look, Yankees ain't been meaningful in postseason baseball in a long time, so your time to be able to enjoy postseason baseball has been short. There's a possibility you could be short again this season. Who knows? I'm not wishing anything. I just hate the Yankees. So your blind rankings are football opportunities. You look. I'm not going to bring up private conversations, okay? All I'm going to say is we outdid what we were projected to do by the majority of viewers, spectators, and casual onlookers.
I don't disagree.
Okay. You guys have been in the running for the division since day 1.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a little difference between a team that shouldn't have made it and a team that should have made it.
Maybe you guys should have, I don't know, added to your pitching staff.
Well, we'll ask you that question when you guys get bounced, okay?
Well, you talk to me in November.
No, I'll talk to you in like a week and a half, brother.
World Series is on.
Okay.
World Series is on.
Brett, get your mans.
Did the Phillies lose tonight?
No, they won.
They won?
Walk off.
Oh, walk-off Jones. All
Nick
right.
Castellan, Nasty Nick, hit a home run when nobody died. It's crazy.
All right.
It's crazy how that happened. But Marcus's blind rankings is football opportunities at 1, the influx of candy at 2, s'mores and bonfires at 3, postseason baseball at 4, and hay rides and corn maze at like a very, very, very low 5.
Yeah, 5 with a bullet. All right, Mr. Tim. I got a top 5 for you. I want you to blind rank. And it is Hell in a Cell matches.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
First one out of the cannon for you is King of the Ring 1998, Mankind versus Undertaker.
Okay. Spectacle-wise, this is number 1. Okay? Like, this is number 1 on the spectacle scale. But if you take all the stupid... I haven't podcasted in 2 weeks. If you take all the craziness out of this Hell in a Cell match, it's meh. It's a meh match. Like, Mick Foley had to die like 3 times for it to be good. I'm going to go with a gentleman's 3.
All right. Next up for you, from Vengeance 2005, Batista, the Animal, versus Triple H.
I think this is the best of all their matches.
I would agree.
but it doesn't mean it's good. I'm going 4.
Okay.
4.
When was the last time you watched that match? Just by the way.
It's been a grip, but I don't really have any interest going back and watching Triple H from 05.
I understand you. I hear you. I'm gonna let you know this match is like really good. I got it a 5 stars.
I mean, you're you're insane, and you love Batista with all your heart.
Well, yes.
And, it's okay.
Enlarged heart. I wish. All right, next up for you. From Unforgiven 2006, I believe it is D-Generation X versus the McMahons and the Big Slow.
Is there a 6 on the list?
No.
5.
Okay.
It's just not for me, man. Like, which is crazy because now I have literally left like the top 2 picks with whatever's left. Ooh, this is tough.
All right, next up for you is from Armageddon 2000, the Armageddon 6-man cell match.
I don't care much for this either. It's going to. I think it is better than all the Hell in a Cell matches we've listed. I might be wrong about the Batista Triple H one. I do treasure your opinion, so I may have undervalued that. But yeah, the Armageddon Cell match, I can put it at 2 and live.
Okay.
So how bad did you bamboozle me here?
Well, I think maybe we'll see with our next segment, because number 1 for you is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is number 1. It's number 1 on this list. And you're, without giving it away to me before the pre-show, this lines up right perfectly with some viewers' choice action here on
Let's do it
on Final Wrestling Place, where we give you the must watch and the must skip and the MVP of the pay-per-views and the premium live events that go on. A lot of everybody in the Soon to Be Named Network had their eyes on Steel Stack SmackDown with the LVAC. I'm excited. I'm glad to see everybody's positive outtakes from that event. Seeing a lot of fun Mark photos, a lot of good walks down memory lane, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of fun stuff. But Marcus and I were locked in on Bad Blood. And must watch is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I'll say this to everybody who is a quote PH friend of Phil in the Discord. I've never seen a group of people less friendly towards a person in my life and call themselves friends. But look, man, if this match didn't break Bird Bones, ain't nothing's gonna break Bird Bones. These dudes was hitting for real. These dudes, Punk loved the business. Drew mega loved the business. This was a great. We talked about this a little bit. What was the cell match? Was it Undertaker Edge? So this to me, every like so odd number of years, there is a Hell in a Cell match that resets.
Sure, yeah.
The template, the formula, or the expectation of the cell match, right?
Right.
Like Shawn and the Undertaker, they set the bar for the longest time, and then eventually it got so convoluted with everything that could happen that you needed a match to pull it all back and reset it and reestablish it in a new time. And I think we said that was Edge and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then Edge and The Undertaker did it, and then we had the exact same problem, right? You know, there were some good Hell in a Cell matches after that. I can think of like the New Day versus the Usos being really good. I thought Roman J was pretty good in the cell, all things considered. But then like, or even Drew and Randy from Hell in a Cell during the pandemic. That was a really good cell match too. But this, it establishes like another tentpole cell match. No red cage. I don't know if that now. I don't think the red cage is gone. I think that this was a callback to the first cell match. Like it was to the day and date, this day in wrestling history, first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. Give us the nostalgic cage and go from there, right?
Okay.
I don't think the red cage is gone. I think it was gone for tonight. Kind of like the Mankind Triple H cage match in like 97 with the blue bar cage.
The blue bar? Yeah.
Yes. Like we had moved away from the blue bar cage and then it came back like one time.
No, so they had stuck with the blue bar
end?
cage. I think the last blue bar cage match, I think it's a Christian and Edge match at like an Insurrection or Rebellion, which would have been like 01. I think that's the last one.
Okay. But that's like but that was back when like it was the European, like they left the cage in Europe, right? So yeah. So before then, it would have been the last time the cage would have been used would have been the Kennel from Hell match.
Yeah.
Because they used the steel, the blue bars painted black inside the cell for the fantastic match between Big Boss Man and Al Snow, where just Rottweilers are, yes, that's what the dog said. Where the Rottweilers were too busy pooping and peeing on the outside to do anything violent against Boss Man or Al Snow. But I really loved this match. I thought it was super fun. A lot of people are gonna poo-poo on the friendship bead usage in the match, and I'm like, I do agree with everybody else. You're like, the friendship bracelet is lame. Like, it shouldn't have been this big of an emotional driver. However, if this is the end of the story and this is the culmination of the feud, having a 45-second call to the friendship bracelets was perfect for me. It didn't take me out of it. Like, they hurt probably just as bad as Legos. They're just really small Legos.
I loved it from Drew's side because it's probably like the last thing that kept him heel in that match.
Yeah.
Because everything, he looks the Terminator. Like, that dude's insane.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out the bag and you're like, okay, it's tax.
Right.
And he dumps them and it's the beads and it's just like one big like F you to the fans. It's like, oh, you guys want to tax. Like, one, you're not getting tax, and two, it's the stupid friendship beads. Right.
And then, of course, like, Punk collects a hand of them, puts them in the mouth of Drew, and then hits him with the chain wrapped knee for the GTS. I thought this match was awesome. I borderline think this match is match of the night. Not to give away the end of viewer's choice, but like, this is absolutely must watch, and this goes in the list of all-time Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah, so I've been not I won't say struggling, but I guess thinking like where do I rank this overall in
You've
my
been
top five?
wrestling.
Wrestling, perhaps. So I've got this tied with what was mentioned earlier, Triple H and Batista, because I think there's two stories that are the best two to tell in the Cell match. It's either Cat versus Mouse or it's Godzilla versus Kong. And anytime you stray away from those two stories, that's where you get the Cell matches that get really forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have like kind of this expectation that like, oh, a blood feud should be in the Cell. But it's like it's not always how it's worked, right? A lot of those Cell matches, it's just because we had a pay-per-view that needed a Cell match.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really a blood feud.
Especially all of the pay-per-views named Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of them. I mean, they said this is, we're at 50 plus Cell matches now. So, yeah. So, with what you said is like this match kind of set the new expectation and kind of like reset the bar. To me, this also carved out a new story to tell inside the Cell, which is like, I think we finally have like blood feud. We finally have that match and that story to be told in the Cell.
It's 53.
Okay.
There are 53 or 53 Hell in a Cell matches in WWE history.
Yeah. Because the only other blood feud match I think that really works in the Cell is Triple H versus Batista. So I think now that there's another one, it's like, okay, we finally have blood feud, and it's the updated version of it, and the match was nuts, man. It was nuts. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty. Not everything was hit 100%, but like the strikes were great. I don't know the last time I've seen a match where like the strikes were that good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether they were working or shooting, the strikes were getting home. I think both guys kind of went in with like, well, if we get cut, we get cut. Mr. Phil did a bit of business. You could kind of see that coming. That was really cool to see. But then McIntyre, man, he went sicko mode with that toolbox.
The conversation was probably like, hey, we're going to do this toolbox. And Drew was like, swing it.
Yeah.
Hit me with it.
Like, that was a head injury, dude. Like, that wasn't just a cut.
They put a zipper on that man.
They sure did. And you could tell from like the way his hair was that like his entire head of hair was soaked in blood.
Yeah.
The angle that they caught where he gets up from the toolbox and you see the blood gush down his face, and it's like a river. It's
like
gnarly.
I said it in the group chat, or one of the group chats we're in, but I'll say it to the mass audience here. It very much reminded me of The Walking Dead when Negan's got Lucille and he's putting the work in on somebody. Like, just the blood down Drew's face was very like horror-esque. This was one of the things with Hell in a Cell matches, especially for you, Marcus, is the violence, right? Like, Hell in a Cell is violence. We need more violence in these Cell matches. And you got it, boy. Like, the wrench usage, the toolbox, and just like the physicality of themselves, right? I think what really works to their advantage as well is they kept the action in the cage.
Yes.
So I was waiting multiple times when they were doing like spots into the cage, and I'm like, okay, here's where the cage breaks. okay, here's where the cage breaks. Here's where they get out of the cage. And they were like, nah, man, we're in here. We're doing it. The cage is the cage, man. It is supposed to keep everybody out and keep those that are in the cage in. Perfect.
Yeah. Like
level
the
set,
cage,
reset.
The cage very much should be the third superstar in the match.
Yes.
And they did that. So I think that really helps with this match.
Right.
And sure, they went under the ring. They kind of pulled out a couple gimmicks, but I mean, the stuff they did with the table leg, I loved. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, really good. The Claymore bump into the steps.
Nasty.
Drew selling the fatigue of like not being able to press the steps up and over the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And having to like resort to like sliding them in. That was cool. The suplex from the apron through the table
was cool.
That was gnarly. Yeah, man, really good stuff. I'm not gonna say it didn't feel like a WWE match, but this is probably as close to like being a WWE match could be without becoming something else.
Right.
Like this was very much just a great
wrestling.
like blood feud pro wrestling match.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. This was wrestling. Like this was, you could show this to anybody. Like this is, or not, I wouldn't say anybody, but like if you're a wrestling fan and you pulled logos and labels off of stuff and like you're doing best matches of 2024 across the entire gamut of wrestling, this is going on that list. It's probably not going to be anybody's match of the year, but is definitely a consideration for a compilation of the best matches of 2024.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to kick out a Will Ospreay match or two to make room for it, but, you know, we'll get there.
Oh, Timmy Heat.
I know. Somebody's got to say something different on this damn network.
Timmy the Heat Magnet.
You know, no, I'm kidding. I love Ospreay. He's good. What is next for you for must watch or must skip?
I'm gonna say Priest and Balor. I'm gonna give it a must skip.
Yeah, man, this was Sleepy Jones.
Yeah, they're put in a tough spot, and like they kind of got the feud demoted. Like this was the 1A feud on Raw, and it's quickly been bumped down to 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman kind of ended up getting more heat than this.
Yeah. So, and it probably sucks to them that like, you know, we're back to a time where it's like, okay, one cell match when the time is right. Like if this was 2014, this match is in a cell. And so are like 2 or 3 others on the show. Like this one's getting the cell treatment. Mm-hmm. But it's not over with these two.
Liv and Rhea would have been in the cell too.
Right. So it's not over with them. I don't know. Like I get having to do, you know, just like your routine maintenance to kind of keep things going and advance the story, and like not everything can be a blow off on pay-per-view. So I'm curious when this gets wrapped up. I'm not in a race to wrap this up because like once it's done, okay, what's next for Damian Priest? Like he's got to be probably a pretty strong contender for the Rumble, I would think, but like we got a ways to go.
Right. The Rumble is right there, but we also do have a bit of time before we get there. I disagree. I agree with you that it is must skip, but I disagree with you that there is more to this. How many more times is Damian Priest going to 1v3 or 1v4 the entire Judgment Day? Right? Like, we have now proven that Damian Priest by himself can beat Finn Balor and also fend off JD McDonough and Carlito.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody left in the Judgment Day besides Dom, and we've already seen that Dom is a non-factor against Damian. So, like, what more is there for Damian with the Judgment Day? Barring a 4-on-4 versus 1 gauntlet match where Damian's got to beat the entire Judgment Day in one sitting. Now tell me, who does that help more? Does that help Damian Priest beat 4 dudes in one night? Or does it help him more than it hurts the entire Judgment Day losing to Damian Priest?
It should be Damian Priest and Bad Bunny.
Somebody in the press conference asked Damian, was like, hey, have you thought about possibly making like your own Judgment Day with like you and Rhea and Jey Uso and Bad Bunny? And he was like, hey man, the original Judgment Day was for all these people who were practical main eventers, but just didn't have the like lift to get there, to raise up and everybody get there. And like, look at the Judgment Day now. Rhea is arguably the biggest star in the entire WWE.
Yeah, she's up there.
She's top 3. And the other 2 are the dudes in the main event. Right? Like,
yeah.
It's Roman, Cody, Rhea. That's the 3. And Damian Priest has now really elevated his game since WrestleMania to stay in that upper mid-card main event scene. Now, during the press conference, he also said that like he would like to win the Intercontinental title. And I'm like, okay, how about you don't? And how about you don't go after the Intercontinental title? And how about you like stay as a world champion, my guy? Because that sucks. That sounds horrible. But he's like, well, it's something I've never done before. That is something you address in your career after you have had your main event run. That I've never won the Intercontinental title is reserved for John Cena and Sheamus. That's it. And that's because they've already done everything else and they skipped past the Intercontinental title to get to where they are. Okay.
I don't mind it if he goes for the Intercontinental title because we got to be strapped in for like a 2-year Gunther run.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Because we can talk about Bad Blood and we can talk about how somebody invoked the name of Bill Goldberg and he happened to be in the building, and Bill Goldberg looked like a person who is in the right tax bracket to have the afforded to you access of human growth hormone, allegedly. Goldberg was looking good, man. I don't want
Goldberg has... Well, hold on. I didn't want Goldberg either. But then you kind of dangle Goldberg in front of me.
Uh-huh.
Tim, I got a question for you.
I think you may have 2 questions for me.
I might have 2 questions for you.
Famous 2-part question. Go ahead.
This time only.
This time only. You're allowed.
Do you think Goldberg has one more spear left in him?
I think he might have one more spear left in him.
Oh, okay. What if Goldberg has one more devastating jackhammer left in him?
I think he's got one more devastating jackhammer left in him. So, Marcus, with those 2 questions, I now have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not a matter of who's next, but who's last?
It better be Gunther.
It's going to be Gunther. We're heading to Saudi Arabia. Gunther is literally defending the World Heavyweight Championship like today, Monday,
Mhm.
against Sam Zayn, Goldberg could easily saw Gunther in half on Raw tonight, Monday. Sam Zayn wins the big one, goes to Saudi Arabia as champ, rah-rah,
Yep.
and Gunther can literally chop a hole in Goldberg's chest.
Perfect. And then also, we get Sammy versus Cody with the piece of business that we saw
Yes. The crown.
online.
Okay. Why can't we just call this the Champion of Champions? Why must we call it the Crown Jewel Championship?
I think so they can say like, oh, they're the crown jewel of WWE. That's where I went to. So you can have the corporate synergy, as Phil said, of crown jewel event, the crown jewel of WWE holding the crown jewel title or whatever.
Now, when they win this gaudy, like double wide, double deep title that is definitely not the AEW World Championship.
Legally distinct.
CEO and boss. Very distinct, absolutely different. This one just has a little ching in it. Does the Crown Jewel Champion carry this title now? Because the last time they gave away a title in Saudi Arabia, Braun Strowman held that green title up long enough to get on the plane to come back to the States.
I mean, you gotta come out with it, I think, after the show, but then I think like the second set of shows after the Saudi show, I don't think you come out with it after then.
Yeah. It's just too much, man. But I hate the title. I hate the name. I love the gimmick of it. I love the idea of Champion of Champions. I love the idea, especially if you're not going to do it at Survivor Series anymore. And because now you have a reason to be excited for, if you're a WWE fan, or even if you're a WWE superstar, right? You have something to be excited for if you're in that world title hunt between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
Like to have the opportunity to face the other brand's champion in Saudi Arabia to become the Champion of Champions, the Crown Jewel, like storyline wise, that's kind of cool. Like not
it's
saying
a good
it
way
is cool
to
but
do an exhibition. Like it's a good way to put a little bit of something on the exhibition. It's better than brand supremacy. So does it mean anything? No, but like, is it an attempt that is better than brand supremacy? Yes. So, and it's limited to like this one-on-one match between like the men and women's champions.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it, right? And it's not like the Saudi shows are always canon either. So sometimes like they're kind of done and they kind of exist in like their own universe, and then they're on. Like it didn't even make the graphic for like upcoming premium live events, quote, that they have coming up. Like they didn't even include it. So that tells me that like
they don't have any tickets to sell for the show.
It's kind of, we're cashing a check on the show.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I don't want to see Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan for the the Crown Jewel.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a title change happen some point before then. That's if it's not gonna happen with the men, I think it'll happen between the two of them. Yeah. I mean, speaking of Nia Jax, how would you feel about Nia Jax and Bayley? Must watch, must skip?
I don't think it's either. I don't think it's must watch or must skip. I think it was good. I think Nia Jax gets a bad rap. Like, people remember Nia Jax from her first run as being like reckless and like stinky doo doo and not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Nia's good now. Like, Nia, I'm here for Nia Jax. I like that they are building her as a kind of dominant champion. Yes, there was the chicanery with Tiffy for the match. Mm-hmm. But Nia stands tall. I can't wait for when Tiffany Stratton finally cashes in on Nia, because I'm curious to see how that unfolds. And like how incensed that may make Nia. Or does Tiffy get squashed, which I don't think happens. I think Tiffy goes over. But I'm not so sold that like Tiffany becomes a babyface after winning.
Right.
Like, I think it's very much a scene of like Chris Jericho getting cashed in on by Jack Swagger. Right? Mm. Like, nobody liked Jack Swagger. Nobody likes Chris Jericho. But we hate Chris Jericho and we love Money in the Bank cash-ins. Same thing happened with Damian Priest. Damian Priest was essentially a heel at WrestleMania and comes in, cashes in on the heel Drew McIntyre.
Biggest babyface of the night for you, though. I was there.
I mean, look, that was until The Undertaker showed up, but
Mr. Undertaker.
Hey, I got the bisexual Undertaker at the beginning of the show, and I got the heterosexual Undertaker at the end of the show, and I'm fine with that. I'm hardcore. I can take them both, is what he said. But what about you? Because I know you mentioned it a little bit, or somebody mentioned it online where they really love like Bayley matches and like the structure of Bayley matches.
Mm-hmm.
So like, is this must watch for you? Because like, I understand that talking point of like Bayley's matches being really good. The finish came together really well, but is it must watch for you?
For me, it's must watch, but that's because like I'm really into Bayley and the work she's been putting in for like the last year plus at this point now.
You mean in the ring or on Instagram?
So I'm really into Bayley and the work that she's been putting in for the last 2 years now. Wherever that may be.
Respectfully.
She's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And her character right now kind of reminds me of like 95 Brett.
Okay.
Where there's not a ton to the character, but
she's not exciting.
All the groundwork has been laid for the character. So you know like who this person is. You've seen the journey and they just kind of exist as a person now. And it's more about what's motivating them right now as opposed to like what are they doing as a character, or like what changes are they going through. It's more about like what is she after. And so I can appreciate that when it actually happens organically. And as far as like her match structure, she reminds me a lot of like 93 Brett. Like post Survivor Series 92, right around there. Like Survivor Series 92 to like spring 93 Brett. I really like her match structure. I like all the beats that hit. I like her finishes are great. And this was a match where like it wasn't anybody's fault, but sometimes out there, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And there is nothing that you can do to like keep the train on the tracks. You can get it back on the tracks, but like you can't keep it from falling off the tracks. And it was just one of those nights. Nothing was working properly. But like all their major spots hit. All their major story points, all that hit. Even like the Money in the Bank at the very end, where it like got caught on the turnbuckle when Bayley was trying to throw it. Like Tiffany did a good job like selling like, oh, something got thrown at me, as opposed to like I got hit with it, which like I think 99% of people who come out of the Performance Center would sell it as if they got hit. Where she just sold it like something got thrown at me. A sick Samoan drop off the second rope. that was gnarly. Yeah. So I liked the match. I liked it a lot. I liked the SummerSlam match between them a lot too. It was really good work. I thought it was really good pro wrestling.
Yeah, I completely agree. Is there anything else that's must watch or must skip for you on the card? Because there's only but 2 matches left. Do you want to cover both of them?
Yeah, let's do it. Right, 5-match card.
Sure. Before we get into that, I do want to ask you, did it feel heavy-handed? Did this event feel heavy-handed at all to you? That like they really tried to make this pay-per-view or this premium live event feel like a huge deal? With just like the amount of production that went into it, all of the legends that were there, all of the celebrities that they brought out for it. Like, it's just an October pay-per-view. And yet we rolled out the red carpet for like a dozen Hall of Famers and like half a dozen major celebrities in Atlanta.
It was a cool kind of going back to like the Bad Blood in '97. Like you had better or worse. DDP was there. You had Goldberg there. You had Waltman there. You had like a big crew of like Atlanta guys from WCW.
Steiner, Arn Anderson, Tully
Steiner.
Blanchard.
Yeah. From different eras. So like that was really cool. Cool to see that nod. You had like current people Atlanta, like Metro Boomin.
Killer Mike.
And like Killer so like that was
future
cool.
mayor of Atlanta.
So I could tell the effort that went into it, but it didn't come off heavy-handed to me.
Okay.
The only thing that like did not work for me on the show was Jade, Bianca, and Naomi hosting. That didn't work for me. And I just think that wasn't in the wheelhouse for any of them.
I think that's another part that leads into like the heavy-handedness of making it a big event, right? Usually we see hosts reserved for major events. We have hosts of SummerSlam. Exactly. And this is the State Farm Arena. Like, this is just this. Like I hate to say it, it's just the October show. I feel like if you wanted to showcase Jade and Bianca and Naomi, then like just have an impromptu squash with like.
Well, there might be an argument or a case to be made that like that's maybe not in the wheelhouse of them either. Specifically, one of them.
I mean, that's not. I mean, Bianca Belair is a multiple-time WrestleMania winner.
I'm not talking about Bianca. I'm not talking about Naomi.
You're talking about the ref?
Not the ref either.
If it's okay, it's a squash. Jade can do squashes.
Yeah.
Like, even if it wasn't like a host spot, like if there was some sort of physicality involved.
Right. You should have had
little Unholy Alliance or whatever come out.
Right.
Or you do the thing they did in the press box with Chelsea in the ring.
Chelsea Green live in the ring would have fed families because she's been so good.
And then you could easily do on the show in the ring the three of them saying, hey, we're going to the press box having a party, and Piper go, I'm going to go with them, and leave Chelsea laying in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, That to me goes a lot farther for the Chelsea character and the Piper character and the three of those other girls, Bianca, Naomi, and Jade, better than the part up in the press box doing the exact same thing. At least then Jade can hit Jaded on Chelsea. You know, like
Again, right? Again.
Yeah. So what? How many times did Hulk Hogan beat up the Genius? I don't like.
It's just it's a lot of wash, rinse, repeat right now with Jade and yeah. Oh, anyways. We got
a little bit till WrestleMania. We'll get there.
Sure.
Everybody needs a mid-card match.
How'd you feel about Liv and Rhea?
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And this is no offense to Rhea or Liv or even Dom in the shark cage. Dunstan checked out. I was not here for this match.
It was tough because you knew like Rhea wasn't winning, right?
Right.
It was really tough.
I knew Rhea wasn't winning.
I appreciate the effort they put into it with like the stunt with Dom falling out of the cage. I thought that came off really well.
Right.
I liked it. It was creative. Maybe Rhea took a little too long. Like getting out there. No.
Or no, you mean Rhea going out and actually getting the
yeah.
Marcus.
That really dragged.
They had to utilize the referee.
Got to.
The WCW referee. You know, Triple H grew up right down the street from the State Farm Arena, wrestling for WCW. Know. He's got to take everything from all the greats. He's got to go and grab the referee. At least they get to wear like Google Glass instead of having to wear like an American Gladiator's headgear. Like, anywho, like, got to get that camera
like
angle over, brother.
The camera itself still sucks.
Well, it's not great.
Like the quality hasn't improved since like 1990 at all.
What do you want us to tape an iPhone to people's heads?
I don't know. Saying it's bad. That's all.
It is bad.
Rhea's like just like
it wasn't super good. It wasn't super good.
No,
like,
ooh, sounds of freedom.
Yo, so much freedom. Whew. They're free until they're not.
Sound like Kerry Von Erich out there.
I know, right? There's a storm brewing out there. I really don't want to say anything else about the match because I'm trying to like Bambi my way out of this and just not say anything at all. Everybody look good. Everybody look good. Definitely need some more. But now we're getting to Bad Blood, Marcus's version.
Here we go.
Here it is.
Main event, baby.
Yes. Let's jump right off the top. Hold on. I'm not letting you get any farther until we first addressed the three giant elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, marching bands in wrestling. More of them. Everybody needs a marching band theme.
Won't more make them less special?
No, it won't.
Okay.
Like blood in matches. If every match could bleed, every match would be great. Cool. If you just removed Def Rebel from the equation and you put every historically black college's marching band out there and did the theme music for everybody, it would be plus 3 stars across the board. The only thing that trumps that is a live orchestra. Now, somebody needs to tell the orchestra to play the music. But they were there. They were all there.
They were
fake playing the fiddle. Cool? Great. Number one, though, the one thing I want to talk about before we get into anything serious about this match. Jacob Fatu is my guy forever for twerking on the stage to Solo's music.
He was out there rump shaking.
Brother man Bill, he must have been listening. He must have been listening to Bryan Danielson's AEW theme before he came out. Because he's like, I'm gonna shake these cheeks. I'm gonna get it in.
He was cheek shaking out there.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Also,
Solo's music is scandal proof. I love Solo's theme.
he also did it, and I hope that you go back and you watch this match just for this.
Oh, I saw the boogie shake.
Could I interest you in a boogie shake?
You can interest me in anything. You know what? Jacob Fatu is so cool. He just needs to steal everybody's cool stuff from the old days. Like before he does the hip check in the corner. You know what he ought to do? He ought to cue up the hoe train. He needs to hoe train him. Hoe train them cheeks into him, and then come out and boogie shake. Like I don't care. Jacob Fatu is the
On a night with a great Hell in a Cell match and lots of blood, Boogie Shake is right up there for me. For like highlight of the night.
Yo, twerking and marching bands and live orchestras. And then there's the piece de resistance at the end. But Marcus, where do you rank the mega powers of Cody and Roman compared to all of the previous super teams of the past?
I guess I haven't put too much thought into it because I wanted to see how it played out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I probably put them at definitely above like an Austin and Undertaker.
Where do they go against like Austin Triple H?
Say higher.
Okay. What about like Cena Orton?
Higher.
What about like Batista Rey Mysterio?
That's probably where they stop.
Okay.
Right around there.
Because I know we aren't going to get anywhere near like Hogan Savage.
Yeah. Not
or
Hogan
like
Savage,
Sid
not Rock
Vader.
and Sock. Not Sid Vader.
Not Sting Davey Boy.
Right.
Not Sting Luger.
Not Dude Love and Austin.
Not Austin Shawn Michaels.
Higher.
Yeah. But this match was a spectacle too. Like, my biggest complaint, and I know you probably have a similar one. Man, Roman Reigns been gone so long that people forgot that like Roman Reigns is a wrestler, and like people like blowing out of proportions how good Roman Reigns was in the ring over like a crucifix.
That's what happens when you don't make a habit of leaving your feet. When you do leave your feet, it's like you did a Phoenix splash backwards.
A front-facing Phoenix splash would be...
Yeah, the extra twist.
It'd be the tumbleweed.
With more flips.
With more flips, yes.
And backwards.
All right, Kev. Just gonna show these exhibition kids. It's like you put another one on it. I thought the match was fine. I thought the tag match was fine.
It's just good classic pro wrestling tag match. Like there is not necessarily anything special about it, but like everybody did their job. They played the hits.
House show.
Yeah.
House show.
Didn't need to be anything more.
No. Top of the card, man. This is a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, a major holiday a house show in the 80s.
A question for you.
Sure.
It has nothing really to do with the match too much, but
yeah,
it seems like they did a really purposeful and effective job of keeping Roman
and Jacob
and the rump shaker himself, the boogie shaker, apart.
Yes.
And with Jacob kind of letting us have a glimpse of what he could look like as like a main event lead on SmackDown. Like, I'm glad that they know what they've got. And nothing against Solo. You've met expectations. But I don't know when, but I know I want it real bad. Roman and Jacob it seems to be something they can easily go to without feeling like a fallback for Roman at WrestleMania.
It feels like WrestleMania.
That's what it's looking like. And the way that they are purposely not giving it to us without making it too obvious. It's like, okay, if it's Rock and Cody, or if it's Cody versus somebody else, then Roman versus Jacob will not feel like a downgrade.
No.
In fact, if you let the two of them cook, I think that they could definitely make a running for like a legit main event. And I think it would probably be a mistake not to put them in the main event.
They wouldn't main event. They would not main event.
They wouldn't. But once that match is done, we'll be here saying, should have main evented.
Well, if wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. So it wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last time that a match on the undercard of a WrestleMania outperforms everything after it. It's like that's like the legacy of WrestleMania. It's been a long time since we've had a WrestleMania match that happened in the middle of the card where we're like, yep, this should have main evented. We're due.
Yeah, it'll be good for the youth.
It will be good for the youth. It'll be a good be a good experience lesson for whoever main events night one of WrestleMania. Who am I kidding? Roman and Jacob Fatu is a night 2 WrestleMania match. That is a night 2 Jones. But we get the match. We get the return of Jimmy Uso. Jimmy out here looking well. He's looking lean, mean.
Might I say, Jimmy, you're looking good.
Looking good. He's on the Samoan version of chicken rice and Nutella. He's ready. Looked great. I loved the little moment with him and Roman. I love the moment with him and Roman after the fact, where they leave Cody by himself, and then the new bloodline start jumping on Cody. And Jimmy's like, hey, man, you're the tribal chief. You got to handle this. And Roman's like, one-time deal. And Jay's like, no, this is where we finally get like the good guy tribal chief. Like, you have this power. It is time to start using it for good. So get in there and equalize. And that was awesome. That was a good moment. Then you get the moment in the ring where Roman's got the belt. He hands it to Cody, and Cody glory hounds it, puts it over his head. And then It's time for The Rock.
If you smell.
Boo-doo-doom.
Were you expecting The Rock?
Yes.
Oh, see, I totally forgot. I forgot everything. Like, I'd even just seen, like, The Rock was at a football game
In Atlanta.
the night before, whatever.
Yeah. The night before. The night they're at SmackDown.
Yeah. I just forgot.
I knew.
I forgot.
With Cody,
hey, everything's
with
a good job.
What Cody said on the Pat McAfee show about, hey, there's gonna be a video that takes place. It's gonna set the table. The big man's coming. Which one? All that stuff. Like, I knew that Triple H's Marvel loving self after Credit Jones. Stingers with The Rock, man. Kind of stupid. Like, it's cool to see The Rock, but like, what the heck did he even do? Like, I get being cryptic, but my man counted to 3 and gestured to play his music again.
Well, 3, if you're The Rock, there's 3 jabronis in the ring. Be counting. Hey, you 3. 1,
Well,
2,
Jimmy
3.
was out of the ring.
Why you still be counting? You still be counting. You're going to question The Rock.
I mean, I will question The Rock. I will not question the final boss. But final boss here. Did you happen to watch the Rock promo on social media?
So I did not, but I will, because I really like The Rock's Twitter, YouTube promos.
It's on Instagram. He was on IG Live immediately after Summer.
Down.
Yeah. The final boss. Bloodline rules. The final boss. You have to do the hand gestures.
Anything goes.
Bloodline rules. Anything goes.
Mama Rhodes. So yeah, I'll check that out. Can we talk about the other piece of business that happened?
Yes.
This
might be what we're about to talk about. Might be low key the coolest thing that happened at Bad Blood.
Yes. But the coolest things they've done in a long time.
Yeah. It's almost like Triple H is really trying to shake things up. Go ahead.
So, well, we got, I had seen on Twitter earlier in the day, like, guerrilla style fan cam stuff from, like, actually shot from a phone. Not where WWE's like, oh, this was captured on somebody's cell phone, and it just so happens to be in like 4K super ultra high definition. Like, this looks like professional grade cameras, but no, actual cell phone of like people arriving at the building, and like one of them was like Roman and Paul Heyman. And maybe I'm a mock bro, but like I saw that and I was like, well, that's something a fan would like take a picture of, right? And try to be like, ooh, maybe a spoiler, right? Because I don't think those two have they been on WWE TV together?
Paul has been off TV since he got shield bombed in Madison Square Garden.
Like, I know they did the Bloomberg interview together. I watched that, but that wasn't like an official WWE thing. Like that was them doing it. So fan captured that and I was like, all right, like that's something I would expect a fan to do. Didn't pay it a second thought. And then we see the video later. Looks from around the same fan angle. It's Cody and it's Kevin Owens talking between the building and the tour bus. And Kevin Owens and Cody are starting to escalate. And there's a push of the fingers into the chest of Cody. Cody drops the belt, and they're both getting heated. Cody picks the belt back up, and he's trying to calm down Kevin Owens, and he gets punched right in the face. And Owens kind of snaps on him to the point where it's like one punch, still probably a sucker punch. Maybe you can be friends. But like that kind of explosion was like, oh, we're off to the races with something. And we've all been kind of waiting for like Kevin Owens to do the Kevin Owens thing. But it's actually happened in a manner now where it's like Kevin Owens is right.
The most Kevin Owens way possible.
And like he's right. He's right. Like you're going to tag with Roman after everything that he's put all of us through. And you're going to side with him instead of like picking me or Randy to tag with you. Or like, why not let Roman go at it alone and mind your business?
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's what the real answer is. That's the thing is like, it wasn't Cody's match to have. Cody answered the call for Roman because Roman's a man on Relevancy Island. And it's like, it's so good. It makes me want to fast forward immediately to Friday.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see how it plays out on TV. Still some questions. So that's cool. And like in all this, like where does Randy side? Does Randy just take a step back and be like, none of my business, I'm out of this? Does he side with Owens? Does he side with
his boy?
Cody? Right. So it's interesting, man. I appreciate when interesting things happen on WWE TV because WWE is usually where nothing interesting happens.
Right.
But I would say that this is interesting. So
I would too.
I'm pretty excited.
MVP of the night?
Drew McIntyre.
Yep. That's for me. Drew left it all out there, man. What a god.
Sure
what
did.
A man. What a man, what a king, what a god. That's him. But of course, let us know what you think. But
I typically hate this word, like performance, right? But like Drew McIntyre is performing at a level that he's on like on a mountain with like two other guys. Like, and it's at the tippy top. He's on a run. So that was all I wanted to say.
No, you're good. And let us know what you think on the Discord, the TNM Shows channel. Let us know in the YouTube comments. Let us know on social media, whether it's on Instagram at Final Wrestling Place, on Twitter at TNM Shows. We'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this. Very, very, very fun event for Bad Blood. Most all of it, I would say, if you missed it, it is a nice 2.5 hour show. Like if you're catching yourself and you don't know necessarily what to watch, you could do a lot worse than watching Bad Blood for sure. Quickly before we get out of here with the last of it, AEW announced their media rights deal on the 5th year anniversary of Dynamite.
Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I think it's bigger than what people think.
Yeah.
Especially from an accessibility standpoint. Right? Like the numbers, especially since we have seen the type of numbers that wrestling brings in. And by wrestling, I mean WWE wrestling. And like, we're so used to hearing like the $5 billion deal, the $3 billion deal. And it's like, okay, well, now we're hearing a $185 million a year deal. Feels like, especially like on the surface, if you're just like a headline hero, like it falls a little flat, right? It's underwhelming, especially when you're comparing it to the other types of media rights deals that had been out in the press for televised wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's why I think it's a bigger deal, though. It is all of AEW's major television. It's Dynamite, it's Collision.
Yep.
And it's going to be on a streaming service simulcasted with television. The accessibility of their two biggest brand shows is bigger than WWE's come January. More wrestling fans will have the opportunity to catch AEW the way they want to than WWE fans. Now, international WWE fans have the trump of all trumps, right? Because internationally, all the shows will be on YouTube, or on Netflix, rather, and not just Raw in the States.
Right.
But with Dynamite and Collision being on Max and cable television, plus whatever other media rights deals are coming up, or wherever any other shows land, like they haven't said anything yet about where Ring of Honor may be going. Ring of Honor is still like an unknown quantity. We don't know exactly where that's going. There's still the talks of like what Swerve said at one time about a Fox deal. Like, is that just a red herring? Is that smoke on the water? Or is that something to really like write home about? Either way, if you just take what there is a press release on, I think it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's bigger than what people will let on, and bad faith actors who have already solidified their spot as having the worst year ever. We can already lock them in for worst year ever, 2024 Final Wrestling Place T&M shows year-end show. Bad faith actors. Like anyone who disagrees is looking at the number and not at the reach. Right? And also
the big thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like also look at Warner Brothers Discovery. Their stock is like $8 a share. They probably gave AEW as much as they felt they could comfortably give a brand, giving them 52 weeks a year of television. It's not like Netflix that has a higher like stock price than WWE TKO does. Like Warner Brothers, the struggles of the Warner Discovery brand are well documented. You can go anywhere and see all of the things that Warner Brothers Discovery has had to write off for a tax break or completely close doors on.
Mm-hmm.
So for AEW to be like the benefactor, like of all the things that doesn't survive the cut for them, AEW does. That lets me know they don't care about what live attendance looks like. They don't care about any of that, right? Now AEW just has to like change their narrative and maybe book buildings that are half the size or fill the buildings they got now. But really, I think it's more of like a building size issue. Like, I think the boys on We Need Wrestling hit it really well. A mixture of smaller buildings and lower ticket prices. You will get, and the media, where like they aren't even doing advertising for AEW show until the week of the show. Like that's a miss, right? So, but yeah, man, what do you got about the media rights deal?
All that led to my two takeaways from this the whole time, and even like before the deal got announced, is one, wrestling is cheap. When you compare it to Major League Baseball, which they don't get as much money as they could or should be getting as a property. When you compare it to the NBA, you can't compare it to the NFL. They're in a stratosphere of their own. Wrestling is dirt cheap to make because for all the reasons you said, It's live. It's 52 weeks a year, and it gives you both story and athletics. So it gives you sport and it gives you story. Great. And you have a built-in fan base. If you say wrestling and it's a major TV company, you know that there's roundabout upwards of 1 million people that you can get to watch your product outside of WWE. TNA has reached that number. WCW reached that number in the past easily. AEW's reached that number before. So you know you have a built-in audience. And then even at that floor, you know you still have more than 250,000 people who will tune in faithfully the old school fashioned way on a television set. So you know that. So yeah, they were never not going to be on Warner property, unless Warner happened to get the rights to Raw. That was just never a possibility. And then two, the other main takeaway for me was the profitability. It is a number where AEW is making profit as a startup, which I won't even elaborate on. Go listen to We Need Wrestling, and actually the CEO of Sodas does a fantastic job talking about that. Michelle is on. She does great talking about how AEW is a startup, especially during the pandemic, is now profitable in 5 years. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait until she just embraces the dark side and actually just joins us up as wrestling fans.
Yeah.
She will literally raise the IQ of wrestling fans by significant points.
And so it's at a number that's great for AEW because they get to be profitable, but it's also not at a number that is unreasonable where Warner is going to lose money because they are not interested in losing money, which is why they let the NBA go. Because the NBA deal has reached a point where, much like the Olympics, you're not making money off of hosting it. What you're trying to do is to spin off that viewership into watching your other shows or into advertising and getting money back that way. You're not making money off the property anymore necessarily. They weren't going to do that with AEW.
Right.
And AEW is not a place where it could be that anyways. So it's really a perfect marriage of the two things right now. They need a profitable property, and that is AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's not announced yet formally, I trust Swerve. If the Shockwave show is for Fox, I'm really interested in
what that's going to be.
What is that going to be? Is it going to be, which WWE has tried to pull off before, do you take two great matches that you tape, before Dynamite, before Collision, with, headliners, and you present two matches and then try to fill in the rest of the hour with promos and stuff like that? Like, that was the original concept for Superstars, I believe. They also tried that with Main Event. They tried it with Super Tuesday in the past. So, like, this is an idea that's been out there before. Are they actually going to, like, commit to it, and is that going to be the formula? Or do they really go for broke and, like, are you going to have another live show? Is it a studio show? What is it? All I know is I think AEW fits way better on Fox than WWE did.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I watch a decent amount of, like, Fox Sports programming. Like, AEW fits in really well with the NFL integration that they already have in. It fits in with Fox Sports as, like, a come up anyways. Like, they're doing really, really well establishing, like, sports personalities and, like, providing, like, really good alternative sports content that is not like ESPN, where it is very, like, ABC. We're not going to like talk X's and O's. We're going to talk like Jordan versus LeBron or like the Dallas Cowboys. Like, are they winning the Super Bowl this year? Like, Fox is doing sports differently now. So like AEW fits in really well with that, especially like piggybacking off of 2 weeks ago's episode of We Need Wrestling with like the Taylor Swift versus or Taylor
Slayer.
Swift and Slayer comparisons. Like AEW has the chance to be like a really cool alternative to be like, hey, you know how they're doing it over there. It's very clean cut. It's Avatar. It's ABC. We're doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious to see what they would look like on Fox, what that show is. I hope, like, I would really love for it to be a live show. I don't know if that fits into their size and growth right now.
I don't want it to be a live show.
It feels like a stretch.
Use it as a vehicle to drive the big thing on Dynamite and the big thing on Collision. And like really solidify that. And if anything, it is to give a televised home to all of these fantastic promos that are getting cut and shown on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Right? Put it on a TV show, make it canon, make it a part of something. Like case in point, on YouTube, there's a video of the Outrunners and FTR where the Outrunners are showing FTR like how to do things Outrunners way. Yo, that has Fuji Vice vibes written all over it of just those two doing like a 3 or 4 week vignette series on Shockwave leading up to, I don't know, a tag team match down the road, right? I think it's cool, man. I really do. I think it's whatever Shockwave is. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd love if it became like their primetime wrestling.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Do you want it to be primetime wrestling? Because if it is, it's probably going to be hosted by RJ City.
No, I would like it hosted by Miss Renee.
They will not be primetime wrestling then.
And Daddy Magic.
No. It'll be RJ City and Daddy Magic.
No, thank you. Miss Renee. Daddy Magic.
Okay.
Tony Schiavone.
Tony can only do so much. He still has a Connie podcast to do. Her sassafras. A lot of things we haven't talked about. A lot of things we're probably not going to talk about. But I do want to just bring it up here just because it is topical. It's a one sentence, one question, one answer. Have you had or do you have any interest in watching the 6-part Mr. McMahon series on Netflix?
How about no?
Okay. I watched it.
It's not because of all the recent reasons. Me as a wrestling fan, I've just reached a point where what can you possibly tell me that I don't know? And I'm losing the willingness to give things the chance to prove it to me.
If you believe one of the pundits on the show, Tony Atlas had his pecker pulled by Pat Patterson.
Not news to me.
Okay, cool. Then that's really the only thing I can think of. Aside from stuff that you could have already guessed, like Vince McMahon is the most daddy-issued man in the history of daddy issues. That Vince McMahon is a walking billboard for therapy.
Can I say?
Men's mental health.
My daddy.
Yeah, like Vince McMahon is walking daddy issues.
Where?
Mad Daddy didn't say he loved
I'm sorry,
me.
your dad finally croaked.
I can't. Yeah, it is a borderline TV show when Vince was like, "Yeah, my dad told me he loved me the day before he died." Like what? No wonder you're such a horrible human being. Here's my biggest takeaway from the entire documentary, and this is what you'll only need to understand, Tim. In multiple times during the documentary, Vince McMahon talks about how he doesn't play fair, he doesn't fight clean. Like, he fights dirty, he doesn't fight fair, and he doesn't like losing. And then look at all of the scandals that he has been in and he is currently in. Have any of them been clean, fair fights that have him on the losing side? No.
No.
So Vince admits to being a person who fights dirty and doesn't fight fair, and then expects us to not believe any of the allegations that have been brought against him during, like, they show they talk about the Ref Rita stuff. They do the steroid trial. They briefly touch on Jimmy Snuka.
Well, I'm on his side for the steroid trial, to be clear.
Right. They mention Ashley Massaro.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Janelle Grant stuff. I just feel for Joe if he had to watch it for Sweet Brucey. Like, the luster of Sweet Brucey has just... I get where Brucey's coming from, though. Like, in a way. Because, like, yes, Vince did, like, facilitate his wife getting the treatment she needed for her cancer. I get that. But, like, shit. Brucey's, like,
I think overall,
to the grave for this man.
It just shows the inability for the majority of people to grasp the concept of, oh, well, this person was one way with me, so it's hard to see them in that light, but also not realizing, oh, there was nothing that I could have provided for this person to take advantage of in the way that they were seeking, so maybe that's why I was treated in a different way.
Yeah. Like, he was a good guy to me. And to which I responded with, I'm sure there's a lot of people who thought that Charles Manson was a good guy. Especially those closest to Charles Manson. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
And a lot of talk. I mean, some people's favorite wrestler here at the network, Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
Doing some riding for Vince, talking about his alleged genius, which I think left years ago, decades ago.
Right. Like,
how genius, maybe at one time,
yes.
Copying a formula over and over and over again. I don't know if that's genius. But
when you write the formula, when it's your formula,
everybody's like, oh, watching trying to do the mental gymnastics around their hero being unable to definitively drive a stake through the heart of their relationship with Vince McMahon. Couldn't be my hero.
Right.
Bret Hart said what he needed to be said. It didn't seem to be too difficult. I kind of said what needed to be said. There was no real dancing around it.
Right.
I don't have to say, oh, he got hit in the head. I feel, I'm going to not let him have a full bite of the bunny. No, it doesn't seem all that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, couldn't be my hero. Couldn't be
Right.
my hero. I'd hate to be in those shoes.
Right.
I do feel bad for a lot of fans who are newish to wrestling. Maybe this is their first major wrestling scandal, which is kind of crazy to think about. That like WWE has kind of mostly cleaned up their image over the last like 15 years to be relatively scandal free.
Or they've done a really good job of keeping it all out of the public eye.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's been that long that WWE has been so friendly to the public eye.
You want to know what it might? You know what it might have to do with? In that time, there still was the stigma that wrestling was real, right? Or that wrestling was a legitimate sport.
I think what's the last major WWE scandal? And it's the Benoit.
Right.
So,
but somebody
since
had to
then,
die
I don't
for
think
that.
people. But in that time, people haven't thought like, "Oh yeah, wrestling was real." Like we're decades removed from that.
I was thinking more along the lines of like the real scandal of being like the steroid trial in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when WWE was facing a ton of scrutiny, it was like they were still on that borderline of like it's sports entertainment, but it's sports, it's wrestling, it's not wrestling, it's not real, it's like hemming and hawing around the circle of like what it is or is not, right? And so either way, man, the Netflix documentary is definitely not for the diehards like us. It is definitely for the casuals, much like a lot of like crime dramas are for a lot of other people. Like,
yeah,
if you like, Marcus knows the John Benet Ramsey stuff inside and out. If Netflix put out a 6-episode docuseries outlining the John Benet Ramsey case, there's a good chance that he knows everything that they're going to talk about on that show because he lives it. Marcus might as well be a detective. What you don't see, like I'm looking at him right now, and yeah, he's got that sweet neon light that maybe he had to mortgage his house 1 time, 2 times, possibly even 3 times, 4. But on the other side of the camera, behind the camera, is his conspiracy board that he updates daily of just thoughts and feelings he has about the John Benet Ramsey case.
Evidence. Where does the evidence lead?
To this day.
Yeah.
He's there. Do you have anything else we want to cover before we kick it off for the rest of the week?
Nope.
Anything to plug?
Yeah, this weekend, Mr. Pig's going to be down at BCW in Virginia Beach, Croc Center. It's always packed out, so I don't even know if there's any names on the show. I don't know. All I know is Mr. Pig's drawing the house. That's what he does. And so yeah, if you're in the area, come on out.
I mean, it is kind of crazy. VCW grave conflict at the Croc Center in Norfolk. On the card, we've obviously Mr. Pig will be there. 8-man tag team action. Names that other people would know. Rex Lawless will be there. I'm looking around. BCW always puts on a good show, regardless of what you get. If you're in the area, if you're in the Hampton Roads area, 757, getting a ticket for VCW is definitely not the worst way to spend your Saturday nights. As they say in AEW, Saturday night's all right for fighting. Well, at least they used to. They don't say that anymore. But either way, go check out VCW, Virginia Championship Wrestling on Facebook.
Remind Mr. Pig to politic to open the show.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tweet at him. If you ain't first, you're last, baby.
That's right.
Yep.
What would Phil do?
Have his match first, sell gimmicks at intermission, and hit the road by 8:30.
Cookout's waiting.
Cookout is waiting. You know, those chicken nuggets is a side and going to eat themselves. But
oh, brother.
That's right. But we appreciate you guys joining us however you do on your podcatcher of choice, whether that's on Spotify or YouTube or what else have you, or on the soon-to-be-named network at soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com. It is the home for this and so many other podcasts, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds with Wrestling with Joe and Adam and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. As we mentioned on social media, you can follow us on Instagram at Final Wrestling Place, on Twitter at TNM Shows. If you want to follow us individually on social media, you can at Not the Tool Man for me, at the Wrestling Speakeasy for Marcus. If you know, you know. And that is pretty much everything we've got to cover. Check out the links in the description to go to the TeePublic store. So much more stuff. Shout out to DeWicki, a successful run of Jersey Boys.
Let's go.
They wrapped this weekend. Congratulations to him on a job well done. Looking like $1 trillion with his infrared yoga and just looking like a mob boss at every turn I saw him on social media. So big for that. But check out everything else on the Soon to Be Named Network, including Wings on Wings when that comes back. Can't wait for that. But until then, Marcus, all that's left right now is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.